Bring yourself into a child's pose position. We're going to have big toes touching, knees wide, and you can just send your bum to your heels, reach the arms away. Have a moment to just breathe here as you press the bum back to your heels. We're focusing on breathing in and out of the nose. It might feel nice to walk your hands around to one side, have a nice lateral stretch, really expand out through the ribs, and then walk them around to the other side. Making your way back to the center, we'll just come up onto all fours. And we've got hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Have a moment to just wiggle about through the spine, make some circles, rounding out at the top into a cat, pressing out through the side of the body, and then into an extension at the bottom. Change direction at any point. Come back to a neutral position, slide your hands to the top corners of the mat. You can draw the forehead or the nose down, or you can draw the chest down to the ground, whichever feels better for you. Come back up to all fours, round out through the spine, press the ground away, tuck the tailbone, and slide the hands forward again. And again, coming up, rounding out, pressing into cat. And sliding forward again, opening into the shoulders and into the mid-upper back. Last one, round out, press the ground away, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. And reaching forwards, keeping the hips above the knees. From here, come back to all fours. We're going into a downward dog, and we're just going to hook the toes. Hands are shoulder width, feet are hip width. Send the bum back, lift the hips. Take the head and the chest through the shoulders. Let the shoulder blades elevate, so press the ground away. And once we're nice and open here in the shoulders, you can have a go at extending one leg and just pedaling through the feet. Switching side to side. Don't worry if your heels don't touch the floor. Still breathing in and out of your nose. Lift your eyes to the top of the mat. We're going to step, or you can jump to the top. Come up to our halfway lift at the top of the mat. Taking a breath in through the nose, filling up the lungs. On your exhale, you can soften the knees, fold over the legs, and just ragdoll. So hold the elbows, rocking side to side. Maybe from here, we can bring the fingertips to the ground, knees are bent, and perhaps you can start to extend the legs, soft bend and then extend. And if you need the hands to be higher, then just bring them higher up the legs. Don't worry if you can't touch the floor. From here, soften the knees and just curl up through your spine. Bring yourself up to standing. We're going to raise the arms up, bring the palms to touch, reach nice and tall, draw the lower ribs down, gently squeeze your bum. Folding as you exhale, compressing the belly towards the thighs. Again, bend your legs as much as you need to. Bring the hands to the mat, step to a plank, tuck the bum under, press out through the shoulders. And from here, you can lower your knees, let the shoulders lead, keeping the elbows above the wrists, or we can go from a full plank, lowering down with control, nice and strong all the way into the bottom. Once we're on our stomachs, let's go into an upward dog. And this can be from the forearms instead. Think about pressing through the forearms, almost like you're trying to drag the legs behind you, opening the hips. Or we can extend the arms, engage the tops of the legs, lift the eyes. Take a breath in, and when you're ready, let's lift the hips, push into the ground, come back to downward dog. Make any shapes you want to make in your downward dogs. Lift your eyes, step or jump in. Come up halfway, take a breath. On your exhale, push the air out, focus on folding over the legs. Think about the belly and the hip flexors pulling you down. Pull up on the quads. Soften the legs, curl up. Arms open up, reach to the top. Grow nice and tall. Folding back down again. Lift your eyes, bring your hands to the ground, step to plank. Nice and strong through the body. Ready to lower down to a low plank. You can lower the knees first. Keep the elbows above the wrist, keep the shoulders drawn back so that we don't hunch. And travel through into an upward dog or into your cobra. Shoulders want to be above the wrist, not too far in front. Engage the tops of the legs and think about length in the spine. Now lift the hips, downward dog. Maybe hook one foot on the back of the other leg, working into those calves. Lift your eyes, step or jump in. Come up halfway, take a breath. Fold on your exhale, pushing the air out. Soften the legs, curl up, reach the arms to the top, grow nice and tall. And folding back down. Lift your eyes, bring yourself to plank. Lower down to low plank. Travel through to upward dog. Lift your hips, downward dog. Lift your eyes, step or jump in. Come up halfway, take a breath. Fold on your exhale. Soften the legs, curling up, reaching tall. Twice more through. Fold back down on the exhale, push the air out. Compress the belly to the thighs. Lift the eyes, bring the hands to the ground, step to plank. Lower down to low plank. Travel through to upward dog. And lift the hips, downward dog. Press the ground away. Lift your eyes, step or jump. Come up halfway, take a breath. Folding and pushing the air out on that exhale. Curl up, reach up, last time through. Inhaling and then exhale as you fold. Lift the eyes, step to plank. Nice and strong through the body, lower down. Traveling through to upward dog, lengthening the spine. Lift your hips, downward dog. And breathe into your downward dog. Have a moment to stay here. You can stay where you are or add a twist. I'm going to reach one hand towards the opposite leg. That can be the thigh, calf or ankle. And all we're going to do is anchor ourselves underneath, looking under that armpit. Even pressure through both feet. Really press and activate through this bottom shoulder. Feel that rotation. And then switch. Taking your breath in, and then as you exhale, rotate. Both hands at the top of the mat. Staying in your downward dog. We're going to come up to the tiptoes and lower the knees down, hovering the knees just off the mat. Hands are just below the shoulders. So if this gets too much, I just want you to lower the knees and then lift the knees. Lower the knees and lift the knees. Otherwise, you're going to stay here and actually hover, keeping the hips nice and level. Hips and shoulders are in line, belly drawn in. Press into the ground. You should start to feel some heat building up all the way through the whole front of the body. Everything's working. And then lift the hips back to downward dog. We'll do that a couple more times. Lift up to the tiptoes, lower the knees down and hover. To challenge it, have a little go at going to the fingertips on one hand, and then reach the arm overhead and place it down. Fingertips at the other, reach it overhead and lower. I'm working really hard to try and not let my hips rock. So fight the urge to let them rock or scale it back a little, and you can just go to the fingers and back. Let's go back to downward dog. We'll do that once more. Just have a moment to breathe. Okay, lift up to the tiptoes, lower down. Holding that hover or going to the fingertips, maybe even going for a little knee tap. harder is going to be. Reaching over. And come back to downward dog. And breathe. From your downward dog, come forwards to a plank position. We're going to lower down all the way onto our stomachs and just come into some spine extensions. From this position, hands at either side of the shoulders, feet are together. Think about squeezing the inner edges of your feet and squeeze your bum. Hands can hover and we just lift the chest, engage the back of the body and lift. Drawing the shoulder blades back and down. Couple more breaths, keep actively squeezing those thighs together, inner edges of the feet. Keep lifting the chest more and more and more. And then gently lie down, arms by your sides, take your ear to the mat. Ready to go again. Hover the hands, lifting up, engage the glutes. Keep lifting more and more and more. And lower, take the opposite ear to the mat. And one more time. Lifting up, squeeze the bum. Squeeze the inner legs together. Even when you think you're squeezing enough, you can squeeze a bit more. And let's place the hands down either side of the shoulders, come through into an upward dog. Lengthen the spine, holding it here. Lift your hips, downward dog. Come up to the tiptoes, lower the knees down into our hover. From your hover position, we're going to take the weight onto one hand, start to open the hips, bring one foot behind and bridge up into a reverse tabletop. So from wherever you are, from your hover, keep your right hand on the ground, take the left foot behind you, lift the left arm, press through your feet and open the hips. Come back into your hover. Going to the other side, go to the left hand, take the right foot behind, engage the glutes, tucking the bum under, really externally rotate that bottom shoulder, pressing and stabilizing into the mat. And back over into your hover. And again, opening up, reaching. See, I'm opening this bottom armpit, almost like I'm screwing the hand into the floor. And back into your hover and switch, reaching up. And back to the hover. Once more each side, really challenging this hover position in the middle. And open, lift. And back over. And once more, reach up. And back to your hover. Holding it, breathing. And lift your hips. Back to your downward dog. Lift your eyes, step or jump in. Come up halfway, take a breath. Fold on your exhale. Curl up, take the arms up, reach tall. Folding back down. Lift the eyes, step to plank. Lower down to low plank. All the way onto your stomach. Lift the chest and hover. Squeeze the legs together. Come through to upward dog. Back to downward dog. Back to hovers. We'll go up to the tiptoes, lower down. Hover the knees. Staying on the right arm, take the left foot behind and reaching up. Don't worry about this top arm. Just try and tuck the bum under, open the hips, externally rotate the bottom shoulder. The top arm can reach or it can bend. Come back over. Hover. Last one. Back into our tabletop. Lift the hips. Downward dog. Lift your eyes, step or jump in. Come up halfway, have a breath. Fold on your exhale. Curl up, reach up. Nice and tall. Folding back down. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Lift the eyes, step to plank. High plank to low plank. Come through into upward dog. And lift the hips, downward dog. Breathe. Lift up to the tiptoes, hover the knees. Hands are under the shoulders. Breathe into it. Take one foot behind, reaching up. Don't worry which side you start on. Coming back into your hover and switch. And come back over. 2 more each side. Really challenge that hover in the middle. Reach. And back. And switch. And again. Back over one last time. And reach. And back into your bear hover. From here, lower the knees, take the knees wide. Big toes can touch, and we'll go back. Bum to heels, reaching forwards. Bring yourself back up to a tabletop. We'll cross the ankles, sit onto our bum, scoot the bum forwards, and from here we're just going to roll back. I'm going to have some fun with some plow rolls. So working on spine flexion, also challenging ourselves to stand up. Keep the knees nicely tucked in, roll back, up to the shoulders, hold your hips, draw the knees towards your head. The weight's resting on the backs of the arms and the shoulders, but not the neck. Knees can come down. You can also take the legs overhead. Challenge here is to roll up to sitting first. And on our next one, we're going to have a go at rolling forwards and then standing up. So let's rock back. And when you're ready, rolling forwards, reach forwards, ground through the feet, lift the hips, take a breath in and fold on your exhale. Curl up through your spine, keep the legs straight, allowing the spine to round as you curl to the top. And once we get up to the top, bring the hands to the lower back top of the bum, open the chest, squeeze the glutes. Bring yourself up tall and we'll go again. Tuck the chin, curl down through the spine, into the bottom. Don't worry if you can't touch the floor. You're going to bend the knees, take the bum to the ground, roll back. Roll forwards. If you need to, use your hands to help you get up, or just have a bit of a play with finding a way that you can get up. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Take a breath in, fold on your exhale. Keeping the legs straight if you can. You might be here to start with. Once you're high enough that the legs can be straight, focus on curling from the base of the spine all the way to the top. Hands to the lower back, top of your bum, open the chest, squeeze the glutes. Once more through, chin to chest, curl down. Find that base position. It's like a Jefferson curl. Bend the legs, find the ground. You can use your hands. Rock back. Don't go onto your neck. Last one. Rolling forwards, reach your head, grip down with the toes, lift the hips, take a breath in, fold on your exhale. Curl up. Head's the last thing to come back up on top. hands to the lower back, open your chest, squeeze the glutes, hips stay in extension. Squeeze the elbows back towards each other. All the way to the top, tuck the chin, curl down. Bend the legs, take your bum to the ground. And we're just gonna lie down. So you can rock back, take the feet to the floor, or lengthen out through the whole body. And just allow yourself to rest and recover. Focus on gentle inhales and exhales, aiming to lengthen the exhale. Add a slight pause after the exhale before your next breath in. To start with, your inhales and exhales might be around 5 seconds or 5 counts. Try to increase that up to a count of maybe 6 to 8 on the inhale, 8 to 10 on the exhale. Stay here as long as you need to. Try to give yourself a good 5 minutes of just relaxation, focusing on those inhales and exhales. And then when you are ready to come back up, invite small movements into the body and just take your time.